this meeting of the WeldRE5J Board of Education. Would you please all stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Would the board clerk please call the roll of the Board of Education?
Yes. Sarah Hall. Here. Stephen Harvey.
Here.
Michael Willis.
Here.
Peggy Wakeman. Here.
Board members who were presented with an agenda for tonight's meeting, I do have one suggested alteration to that agenda. We currently have 13 individuals who have requested to speak on general topics. I don't see anything here for that ties directly to our agenda. Is that correct? Am I missing something? So with that and the 3-minute allotment, I would suggest that we strike the citizen comments on agenda items under segment 1, and that we would move those 15 minutes down to the public comments on general items later in the meeting, and extend that section to 40 minutes, which would be 13 times the 3 minutes each. Any objections to that change to the agenda?
Are you moving that?
I'm suggesting it for discussion. So I move we amend the agenda as presented.
One second.
Any further discussion? Okay, we'll move to a vote on the amended agenda.
John Bruce.
Yes.
Sarah Hall. Yes. Stephen Harvey.
Yes.
Michael Wales.
Yes.
Peggy Wakeman.
Yes.
So having approved the modified agenda, we will move on to item 2A, reports and comments from board members. At this time, I will look forward to members of the Board of Education for their comments. Okay, Ms. Hall.
Been in the school this week, just doing different things. I attended the show choir concert last night at Roosevelt. They had a previous student, who's no longer a student at the school, come in to do lights and sound. He did an amazing job, so it was nice that the sound held up through the whole concert. All the solos seemed to do really well, so it was nice to see that.
Great. Thank you for that, Ms. Hall. Other reports and comments from the board?
Since our last board meeting, I had the opportunity to participate in the mock speech class at Roosevelt, and it was on public speaking. Have some awesome kids that did a great job on all of that. The two that I wish to specifically mention tonight would be Raven and Paige, and their idea was that we need a farm for Roosevelt for WeldRE5J to promote our ag interest in our community, and I thought it was an awesome idea.
Great. Thank you for that report. Other reports and comments?
Yeah, I'll elaborate on that. I too attended the mock interviews, and that is always such a great fun time. I told Ms. Mortensen this year or next year I'm going to block out a whole week just so I can spend as much time as I can, because it's so much fun to listen to those kids and what they're trying to do. I wish I had half of that ambition when I was that age. I was just going to dovetail on what Peggy was saying about the farm thing. That was a really cool idea. The idea would be that we have a lot of kids who don't live on a farm, who are involved in the FFA program, or who want to get involved in 4-H, and if there was a centralized location where they could keep their livestock or get experience working with livestock. So I think that's I was a little embarrassed coming from an agricultural background that idea never crossed my mind, because I'm a smart guy. I was thinking that never came across my mind. The other thing I want to do, if you don't mind, I'd like to read this press release.
Yes, please.
So this is really exciting. At Melican Middle School, our art teacher, Vicki Farby, was named the 2019 Colorado Art Education Association Middle School Art Educator of the Year. Is she here with us tonight? So tonight. Do you want me to read the body? Should I read
Yes,
the body? I'm going to read the body of this thing, so. Excuse me. When Virginia Vicky Delgado Fogarty first came from Mexico to the United States in 1990, she worked in a restaurant. At that time, she remembers knowing only 3 or 4 words of English. Since that time, not only has she mastered the language, she has achieved bachelor's degrees and is currently continuing her education in educational leadership at the University of Northern Colorado. Currently, Vicky teaches both Spanish and film studies at Milliken Middle School and is a very competent instructor with a wide variety of talents in multiple areas. As are all great teachers, Vicky is a lifelong learner at heart who continues to grow and learn. Her teaching is dynamic and fluid. She enjoys taking risks and is open to both changing and experiencing new opportunities in order to become a better educator and innovator. As a result, Vicky is adept at equipping her students with the understanding of the power of the elements of art and the skills needed in order to produce amazing films that are competition ready. Most recently, Vicky delved into learning the process behind three-dimensional printing, adding this cutting-edge technology to her students' already full repertoire from which they can choose while seeking to expand their visual storytelling abilities. Described by students and colleagues alike as very energetic, enthusiastic, and dedicated, it is clear that Vicky understands her students and continues to keep their interest by keeping her classroom relevant and exciting. She relates well to kids of all ages, backgrounds, and interests, and her classes are popular amongst the student population of Milliken Middle School. Linda Chapman, owner and consultant at Rocky Mountain Educational Consulting, adds, she is also a fun teacher. Her classes are filled with student-centered learning activities and projects, and the quality of the output is outstanding. Vicky has a great personality which inspires students to do their best and to love their studies. She is keenly attuned to the needs of all students and able to help them learn about film, to create film, and edit and appreciate film. All the while, her students feel good about learning and love the hard work involved in nurturing their creativity. Principal Ronald A. concludes, I have been able to observe Vicky's interaction with students, parents, colleagues, and administrators. Vicky is able to connect with and bring together various groups of people in a professional manner. She brings strong problem-solving skills to situations. She has the ability to look at issues and create new solutions. She also has a diplomatic manner of suggesting ideas and looking at things differently. Her leadership skills are invaluable, and she's often called upon to assist the administration. It's so hard to describe the amazing job Vicky does with her students. Her work stands for itself. And so it says, each year, CAEA, which is the Colorado Art Education Association, chooses a highly qualified individual whose dedication to excellence and advocacy in the field of art education deserves recognition and serves as a model to which all art educators may aspire. And so it sounds like there's going to be an award ceremony in November 9th in Breckenridge. So you're going to get the slopes too on it. Well, good job. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that, Mr. Wales. Does that conclude your comments?
That does.
Okay. I just have a couple of things to add to that. I've enjoyed being out in our community the last several weekends and interacting with the residents and hearing their feedback and concerns and their questions and their support. And so that's been good. I look forward to continuing that just as a member of our community this coming weekend. Also wanted to alert the board that in your packet, although Ms. Samborski is not able to be here tonight, our Chief Financial Officer, as she is attending to the recovery of a family member from a medical procedure, she did give us some preliminary information regarding enrollment, and so you have some information in your packet. A full report, given her absence and the absence of our superintendent who is recovering from her own medical procedure. The full report and the impact from a budget standpoint of the enrollment will be delivered to the November 6th meeting, our next regularly scheduled board meeting. Bottom line is enrollment in our district was flat this year, and so she's going to go through and explain to us the impact to our financial picture and how there's more than enough reserves to cover the shortfall that we experienced, and then present an amended budget in January. Okay, so we'll get that report on November 6th. And finally, just a quick update on Ms. Arnold, our superintendent. Her procedure went well yesterday, and she's at home. She's recovering. We don't know when she's going to be out of the hospital. to have an update for our staff at tomorrow morning's professional development at 9 o'clock as well. Other comments or reports from board members? Okay, at this time I'd like to move on to item 2B, a report from our Chief Academic Officer. Ms. Groom, please approach the podium, and if you wouldn't mind, just for the benefit of our audience, turning on that microphone and utilizing that so everybody behind you can hear you. Thank you. There you go.
Okay. Oh, wow. That's really cool. President McCarthy, Board of Education, thank you for this opportunity to provide you with a updated report from my office, the Chief Academic Officer. I want to let you know that we have applied for a couple of grants this year. One is the Elementary Computer Science Grant that we were actually awarded this year. We have requested funding for year 2 in the amount of $40,000 and feel like that will be funded to continue our work. The other grant, which is a new grant for us, we're pretty excited about, is the Farm to Table for Milliken Middle School. This is a planning grant that will support our ag pathway for grades 7 through 12. So we're excited to be able to bring that on and hoping to hear about that soon for funding for next year. I also want to give you a brief update. Our CTE team that's comprised of middle school and high school students have been working hard this year to develop clear pathways for all students, 7th through 12th grade. So we've met several times to get that work going. We've also, working with Ames Community College, we've increased our concurrent enrollment funding so that we have more students that will have the ability to access that. We're working with our counselors to develop a plan on how we're going to communicate out our pathways once they get those developed so that all students and community members understand the options that students will have starting in 7th grade and how they can work towards certificate or completion programs as early as 7th grade. So hoping to get them on a path that will enable them to have gained employment or go for additional funding once they graduate from high school. So we're working very hard on that, and we'll be presenting those to you in hopefully June. We'll be able to get those in. We also discovered that our master schedules for middle school and high school have created some barriers for students to access these pathways. So we are bringing in training. So our administrative staff will receive training in actually how to develop a master schedule that will eliminate the barriers so that students can access not just CTE paths, but make sure they can have access to advanced placement classes, their gifted and talented classes can be met. So we're hoping a master schedule next year, middle school and high school, that will truly reflect the initiatives of this district and will support our CTE and our other pathways as we move forward. So excited to get that started. We're going to do that soon. And then the last thing I wanted to let you know is our instructional learning team is working very hard to develop a process of how we adopt instructional material for the district. It's a little fragmented right now in how that works. So we're actually working on a formal process so that people can request instructional material, but we're asking that that's tied to data and our achievement gap. So what we are adopting and how we're using our resources truly reflects, again, the initiative of this district. So that's kind of what my office has been working on. Do you have any questions?
I don't have no questions.
So the development of or the training for the master schedule, when will that take place?
We're starting the development here. We're actually starting the training in the end of October. So we have a consultant that we're working with that will come in and do instructional training with them and helping them develop things like calendar, periods, what we're doing in terms of scheduling. Then we're bringing IC in, Infinite Campus in, to actually train them. And instead of working out of a sandbox, I'm going to have them develop the schedule as we go along. So we have some training with the consultant. IC will come in, we will work on the schedule, we'll go back to the staff and the students, make adjustments as necessary, come back, make the changes with our consultant. IC comes back in for another 2 days, and again, we'll do training, and then they stay, and we're going to build the schedule. So we will have schedules by April, May, so that students will get schedules. We'll have schedules done, we won't give them until August, but we will have schedules done before administrators leave for summer break.
And then the instructional learning and development, what's the timing on that work and when you see that start to then permeate out to the staff?
So I told you last time that we sent out a survey to staff asking about instructional material. We've got that information back. We're in the process of putting that together and kind of analyzing it to help drive our instructional learning team. We have actually finished the request form today. So we're hoping that that'll go out to staff here by the end of the month so they know how to request instructional materials. So we can tie cost to that. We can sum up our budget a little bit better, know where that money is going, and make sure that what we are purchasing actually works towards closing the achievement gap and is used district-wide. So some vertical and horizontal alignment with our instructional material. So hopefully by the end of this month, we'll have that out to staff so they know how to formally request instructional material and help us direct how we use resources. So soon.
Any questions for Mr. Okay.
Okay,
very much.
thank you.
Appreciate your report. No, it's fine. Moving on to item 3, the consent agenda. We will present with a consent agenda including minutes of previous meetings and personnel updates. Are there any items that any board member would like pulled from that consent agenda for special consideration and discussion?
I move we approve the consent agenda.
Motion approved by Ms. Wakeman, seconded by Ms. Hall. Any discussion? Okay, we'll move to a vote.
John Bruce.
Yes.
Sarah Hall. Yes. Stephen Parker.
Yes.
Michael Williams.
Yes.
Peggy Whitman.
Yes.
Consent agenda is approved unanimously. No old business on tonight's agenda. Move on to item number 6, special business. Item A, the FFA convention in Indianapolis, Indiana. At this time, I'd like to invite forward Mr. Hopkins. Please come forward, introduce yourself, sir, and tell us about the trip to Indiana.
I don't know if I need this.
If you don't mind, that way the back row back there can hear it. This is worth
Okay, I'm Brett Hopkins, the FFA advisor up at the high school, and I'm here tonight to ask for permission to take some students to the National FFA Convention in Indianapolis, Indiana. I think all the details for the trip are pretty much there on your page. I can talk about that more if you like or answer more questions, but before I do that, I'd just like to say this is year number 20 for FFA here at Roosevelt High School. And I still can't believe that Mr. Bruce and some other individuals gave this crazy guy the chance to be an FFA advisor here 20 years ago. But we've been having a ton of fun. Also, on that same note, you'll notice that it talks about the kids and how they've raised some money to go to National Convention. And one of the things we're really proud of with that is one of the ways the kids are raising this money is through twine recycling. And I hear a lot about kids talking about nowadays about global warming and taking care of the environment and being stewards of the land. And I'd just like to point out that our kids here at Roosevelt, those kids are literally making a ton of difference. And when I say that, they've probably recycled easily 12, 13 tons of twine by now since we started this program. And we just got a grant for that this year as well to buy some equipment to make that more efficient and a little bit less labor intensive. So we're pretty excited about that as well. You know, some amazing comments from some kids that have come through the program about a possible farm or something like that. And with that, I would just say, thank you to our community and the people that have supported our program and allowed kids to keep animals at their house that aren't theirs. Because our kids rely upon it heavily. And also, I am so excited about what's going on in our school and our community right now. And some of the things that I've seen in this past year, and I got Dr. Littlefield and Miss Arnold out on some SAE visits where they got to go visit students and their projects, some of them at homes where they were using somebody else's property to house their animal, and that support is amazing. And I can assure you, we're probably the only district in the state of Colorado that can say that our superintendent and our principal went out and visited kids in the summer to see what they were doing with their work-based projects. So really excited about that, and that's, you know, kind of one of the things we're celebrating when we go to nationals. We have an American degree recipient this year. That's what it's based on. It's her SAE. That's the highest honor a kid can get through National FFA, is to receive that American degree. So we're excited about that. We want to ask for your permission to go, and you know, I'm really excited about what's going on in our schools and our program and what I'm seeing for vision for the future in this district. And after being here for 20 years, I'm as excited now as I was the day I started about what's possible for our kids and what's coming as far as great possibilities to improve, develop, and expand what we have to offer. So, thank you.
Any questions?
Well, just a quick comment, congratulations.
Yes.
20 years, and thank you for, I know, before I got involved in the school district, I heard lots of things about, positive things about the FFA program at Roosevelt High School from other districts. One of the things I saw in this thing for nationals is Bob Goff.
Yes.
Have you ever heard Bob Goff?
I have not heard Bob Goff, but I know that the people they have come on stage at National Convention are usually outstanding. And this gentleman, I know he left a job as an attorney to become somebody that goes out and tries to make other people's lives better. And, you know, that's kind of one of the things we're working on in culture with our kids at Roosevelt right now, is trying to, I've got it written on my board, the word elevate. We're trying to elevate everything we do, elevate those around us, elevate our expectations of ourselves, and I think that's what Bob Goff's all about too. So.
Yeah, I've had the opportunity to hear him speak. I've actually talked with him. Phenomenal. He's going to blow you away. I'm excited for him to come back and we can talk about it, because his message is, we need more of his messages.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to it.
Other questions or comments?
How many students do you have going?
10.
10. I remember that. That's wonderful.
So just one request, that when you get back, you bring your students and let us appreciate them and their effort and hear how things went.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Other questions? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
President McCarthy, I move that we approve the request for the Roosevelt High School FFA to take 10 students to the national, 10 students and 2 sponsors to the national convention in Indianapolis.
Second it.
Motion to approve the trip by Mr. Wales, seconded by Ms. Wakeman. Any discussion? Okay, we'll move to a vote.
John Lewis.
Yes.
Sarah Hall. Yes. Stephen Carter.
Yes.
Michael Wales.
Yes.
Peggy Wakeman.
Yes.
Trip is approved unanimously. Good luck. Moving on to special business item 6B, changes to the schedule for Board of Education meetings. Board members, the election coming up, in which 3 new, 1 returning, and 2 new board members will be seated on this board, takes place November 5th. Our next regularly scheduled board meeting is November 6th. It is highly unlikely the county will have certified the results of that election by that meeting. And so there are proposed changes to the meeting schedule for the remainder of this year. It includes adding a meeting on November 20th, at which time that new board will be seated. Removing the meeting on December 4th, because of that meeting held on November 20th. And then adding a special meeting currently scheduled for December 9th at 5:30 p.m., where the Board of Education will receive recommendation and input regarding a charter school application that was presented to the district. Any questions about those meetings, about those dates?
Second it.
Motion to approve the change to the meeting schedule as read into the record by Ms. Hall, seconded by Ms. Wakeman. Any further discussion? Okay, we'll move to a vote on this schedule change.
John Lewis.
Yes.
Sarah Hall. Yes. Stephen Carter.
Yes.
Michael Wales.
Yes.
Yes.
Meeting schedule changed unanimously. We would direct district staff to please update calendars and notifications accordingly. Should that date of December 9th change, we'll certainly get the word out and take care of that in November 6th or November 20th. Okay, moving on to new business. Item number 7, the graduation requirements for the class of 2021 and the capstone program. I'm going to invite at this time the principal of Roosevelt High School, Dr. Littlefield, to come up and address the board. Dr. Littlefield.
Thank you, President McCarthy. Thank you, school board. It's a pleasure being the proud principal at Roosevelt High School, and so I'm excited to be here with you tonight. At the very beginning of the summer, I did ask Miss Arnold if I could come up early in May, so I could be involved in some of the planning for the new school year, some of the hiring of new faculty and staff. There was a lot of work that needed to be done. I didn't know it was going to be weighing pigs with Mr. Hopkins, but boy, we had a blast. It's saw some fine looking pigs too. So he taught me the art of weighing pigs. So, but it was a great welcome to this community and to our kids and our families. And so I didn't waste any time. I rolled up my sleeves and we got to work. We got to work doing a lot of things that needed to happen to the facilities, to the building. We were looking at master schedule, looking at handbooks, trying to get our handbooks ready. One of the things I noticed right off the bat was some discrepancies in our graduation requirements for class of 2021 and beyond. I know Colorado Department of Education has some new changes for the state in regards to graduation requirements. And so noticed a few inconsistencies in there, and so asked Ms. Arnold, asked the board if we could make some recommendations on some upcoming changes so we could get ready for the class of 2021 and make sure those students were successful in graduating from Roosevelt High School. So some of those that I'm going to present to you tonight, our administrative team looked at over 13 different school districts. We looked at their graduation requirements, graduation plans, their capstone programs, and we looked at those and we contacted the Colorado Department of Education. We got some input and feedback from them on our graduation plans and what were some of the recommendations on changes that we could make as a high school in our district. And so just looking at our graduation credits, we decided, you know what, we're going to try to leave as much of it the same if it fits those requirements and those specifications. And so we left the total graduation requirements at 24.5, so we're still recommending the same total number of credits for graduation for the class of 2021 and beyond. We did reconfigure those a little bit. We looked at 4 English credits, 3 math credits, 3 science credits, 3.5 social studies or government required credits, 1 physical and health education credit, 1 humanities, which includes world languages, art, music, agriculture, and broadcasting. We did change around some of the computer applications, life skills, and senior seminar, and some of the elective credits. And so what we did was we added a full credit for technology and business career tech education. And this is a program in an area we thought we could really build upon for the future and really help our kids with the new requirements from the state on graduation requirements. So we made that one of the requirements. We also increased the elective requirements from 8 to 7.5. just to compensate. So that way we made sure the total graduation requirements were the same from year to year. We did add step 2, which was community service hours. Something we noticed on a lot of the graduation plans from other high schools across the state of Colorado was that they had community service requirements for their graduates. I thought what a great time to start that tradition at Roosevelt High School. So we added perform 8 hours of community service while enrolled in high school at Roosevelt High School. That was non-existent before. So we added that component to it. Demonstrate competence in English and mathematics. These were some of the differences that we noticed. We had the same AccuPlacers, the 62 on English, the 61 on mathematics. We had the same ACT scores of 18 in English, 19 on math. SAT requirements, we had 430 and 460, and that was one of the big discrepancies because the state of Colorado is going to require after the class of 2021, they have to meet at least 470 on their SAT in English and 500 in math. So that's a big difference. That's a big discrepancy. So we needed to get that recommendation to you and get that approved. Advanced placement courses, if they score 2 or higher in English or math, That will demonstrate competency in those areas. And so concurrent enrollment classes, if they make a C, we currently have several approved courses, concurrent enrollment courses at Roosevelt High School. And so if those students score C or higher, they will achieve English and mathematics proficiency. So that'll help those students. And then a district capstone, which was non-existent. We did not have one in place. And so we looked at 14 or 15 different capstone plans, and we put a capstone plan in place, and it consisted of about 6 different elements. The proposal and action plan, product, service, and field work, a research paper, a portfolio that contained certain artifacts from their research or their project, whatever it involved, evaluation of a 21st century skills evaluation that a mentor or teacher or administrator or counselor could do for them. Even work, if they were doing an internship and doing a work study program, their supervisor, immediate supervisor, could do an evaluation of 21st century skills for them, and then a final presentation. And this we did not have in place, and so we put all the elements together for it and put a program in place so that way all of our students, starting with the class of 2021 and above, would have an opportunity to perform a capstone project for this school district. And so these are all the immediate requirements that meet the state of Colorado's requirements for graduation. And so we just wanted to present that to you tonight, make those changes, and be prepared so we can graduate our class of 2021 at Roosevelt. Thank you.
Questions from the board? So when do you envision the capstone project being initiated and then completed for a student?
Well, the capstone will be identified. They'll be identified on how they score on their SAT. So if they don't score high enough in their math on their SAT or their English, and they look at them separately, then that capstone will take whatever area they were weak in. If it was math, and their capstone will reflect that. They're going to be trying to focus on getting mathematics, meeting all the requirements for those. And so if they're English, then it'll be an English component to that. Now, if it's both, then they'll have to include both. So it all depends. After their junior year, when they take their SAT, they've got a year to start working on that capstone. And so we definitely want to have a plan in place for those that do.
Okay. Other questions on the 2021 and beyond grad requirements or the capstone project?
Thanks for the information, Dr. Phil.
Thank you, Ms. Wakefield. Thank you, Ms. Wakefield.
Yeah, I was just going to say, we, as a board, we set a lofty goal of 100% graduation rate, so that's probably going to be a key part of that, right?
Amen.
And with the community service hours, I think it's great to do that. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Ms. Hall. And a lot of them are already doing some of these things, so I think that'll be a difficult one.
So obviously with increases in the credits and then adding things like the capstone and the community service hours, do you foresee that you have the staffing in place to manage this, to assess it, to guide students through these new requirements?
Yes, FTE is always in the back of my mind when planning these things. And so just looking at the various programs, I know we are pushing hard to really develop our CTE pathways. And so I know we've got some incredible faculty and staff. We've just really got to fine tune some of those pathways and programs. And I think just partnering with Ames and partnering with the community and trying to establish some outstanding pathways for students. It's been a pleasure to work with Mr. Hopkins in the ag science areas, Mr. Yarrow in the tech areas and the STEM areas, Mr. Yost and Coach Joyner in the business areas, and Mr. McFall in the culinary arts areas. Ms. Atkins and Mr. Balderson are working on some fine arts pathways, and so I know we're constantly looking for areas. Okay, where can we improve more? Where can we add some stuff? But it's like Mr. Hawkins says, we got one of the finest FFA programs in the state of Colorado. And I asked him when we were weighing pigs, I said, all right, how do we size up with everybody else? He said, well, when we show up, they said, oh no, here comes Roosevelt. And so, but he has a large program, a very successful program, but he's a one-man show. And so to expand that program, he's limited in what he can do. He's limited in the number of classes he can teach. So I think this is our opportunity to really expand that program and really provide a program that's much needed for Roosevelt High School. So, thank you.
Any questions? Thank you, Dr. Wilson.
Thank you.
No specific action required on this tonight, board? So we'll see this as part of the handbook for next year, I'm assuming. The graduation requirements are in place right now. Possible.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm fine.
Okay, we've moved on beyond item number 7. We are now at the citizen comments on general topics, item number 8. As we had discussed at the beginning of our meeting, given the 13 individuals who have signed up to speak, we will extend 3 minutes to each of those individuals. That means this time period of public comment could go as long as 39 or 40 minutes, and so we have modified our schedule accordingly. And so we would like to begin that time of public comment. When I call your name, we invite you to come forward, use the microphone so the audience can hear you. Please state your name and your address, and then your 3-minute window will start. I will notify you as that window winds to a close, and we'll ask you to bring your comments to a close. I do want to read a statement of instruction for public comment before we begin. Public comment section of a board meeting is offered by the board as a courtesy to hear from our public. Members of the community are invited to share their comments with the board on district matters, offer critique of board operations and board decisions, and propose solutions. It is not a time to spread rumor or innuendo or to attack district personnel, members of the community, or board members directly. If we feel your comments are becoming disruptive, the board will respectfully ask you to redirect. If you do not, the board may suspend the remainder of your comment time. If disruptive behavior persists, the board may exercise its right to move to terminate the public comment section of the meeting. Thank you all for abiding by these guidelines, and we look forward to hearing from you. So at this time, we'd like to begin with Miss Jenna Hall. You approach and state your name, please.
Jenna Hall, 2045 Fox Meadow Lane in Johnstown. And President McCarthy and board members, it's a pleasure to be here before you tonight. I'm here to express appreciation for your dedication and pouring your hearts and soul into a thankless job. You put in hours for meetings, work sessions, and community forums to create the bond package. I applaud your efforts of involving all the stakeholders in this process. You've provided plenty of opportunities for input from our communities. I commend your vision to compile a long-term plan for our district. I congratulate and thank you for securing the BEST grant, the $8.3 million grant money, so that maybe in a few years, when the Ledford students write their student council posters, they won't have to say, "Vote for me because I'll fix the leaks in the roof." Great schools build great communities, and great schools and teachers provide our students, which are our most prized possessions, with a great education. We owe that to our kids. We have great leadership. We have great teachers. We have amazing students, and I'm the proud parent of a Ledford Colt. Now, let's give these students great schools by passing this bond. Maya Angelou once said, quote, "Do the best you can until you know better. Then, when you know better, do better," end quote. Now is our chance to do better. You have my full support. Thank you for caring about our kids.
Next to speak is Terry Larrick. Forgive me if I did not pronounce that correctly.
Good evening, President McCarthy and board members. I'm Terry Larrick, address 9 South Fremont Avenue, Johnstown. I've been a resident in Johnstown for the last 22 years. I'm a retired high school biology teacher, and I've been substituting in the district for the last 11 years. I've done most of my substituting here at Ledford, including several long-term assignments. Some lasted anywhere from 12 to 16 weeks. So I've experienced a lot of the same problems other teachers from Ledford have. I often have had to bring my own fans from home to the classroom to help with the uncomfortably warm temperatures when the air conditioners didn't work. I've been in classrooms when heavy snow melt has poured into the classroom 2 feet wide over a sheet of plastic to protect the wall. The noise from this mini waterfall dumping into a large tub was very distracting to the students. It was difficult for them to hear instruction and difficult for me to hear their questions and comments. When there were periods of extreme dampness, we would notice the musty smell from the mold forming. My eyes would water during these times and my throat was scratchy. The fire hazards are widespread. Old wires get hot, causing the insulating cover to start smoking and filling hallways, causing for the need of all the children to be evacuated into other hallways and spending the rest of their day learning elsewhere. Often in the cafeteria, if an appliance such as a microwave was plugged in, sparks would go flying. It is surprising there hasn't been a significant fire. I love Ledford. I love the teachers, the support staff, the administrators, but I mostly love the students. However, the building is in extremely bad shape. Its condition seriously impacts the performance of teachers and students. I know that there are many people who are hopeful that the building of a new high school would be part of the bond and mill levy override, but I trust that you, the board members, administrators, professional consultants, and those on the planning committee took an in-depth look at all these issues that the district was burdened with and came up with the most reasonable list of needs that desperately need immediate attention. So I encourage those of you who are wavering about your decision to step back and look at the big picture. Most importantly, take time to seriously consider the ramifications if this bond issue doesn't pass. Consider how many years down the road it might be before these proposals would be addressed. What effect is that delay going to be like for our kids? How will their education be compromised? Because they don't have a safe, clean environment, an environment that can support all the technology that is such a critical part of today's education. Please vote yes. Please vote for our kids.
Next to speak is Mr. Scott Kenyon.
My name is Scott Kenyon and I live at 3761 Bruner Boulevard in Johnstown. I have had children in every school in the district except for the charter school and Milliken Elementary School. So I'm familiar with, because of our volunteer activities, all of the situations around the district. Last year I served on a committee to analyze the bond packages that were being considered at the time that didn't end up going to the ballot. And at that time, I can see some similarities and some differences compared to what we're looking at today. One of the big differences that I remember is that there were no gifts of land or grants from the programs that have given our school district matching grant opportunities, which lowers the overall cost of the bond expense to our community members. I recognize that growth is expensive, and northern Colorado is one of the fastest growing areas in the country. And within northern Colorado, our school district boundaries contain some of the most affordable housing in that fast-growing area. And in that fast-growing area, we have kind of a convenient advantage of being able to commute to a lot of job opportunities in northern Colorado, as well as the northern half of the Denver metro area. So it makes Johnstown and Milliken and the surrounding communities in our district that are in WeldRE County unincorporated areas, it makes it a very attractive place to live. And so as a result of that, investing in schools is a good idea because it preserves value and creates community awareness for our community, which makes our community an attractive place to live. And I don't know about you, but my most expensive investment is my home. And so I like to see things being done that raise value or preserve value in our community. So based on what I've read and what I know at this moment in time, although I'm still reading, if the election were held tonight, I would be voting yes on these two issues. Because compared to the other package of bond and mill levy things that we were working on last year, this is a significantly more advantageous arrangement with all of the gifts and grants that we're going to get that are contingent upon these bonds and mill levies passing. I would also like to say that I think the board would be well served to put in some sort of a process that makes visibility on how this, if the bond passes and the mill levy passes, on how this money is being spent and updates on status of projects and stuff like that in a very public and communicative sort of way so that the public can see that the board is exercising the due diligence required by its fiduciary responsibility. Also, I'd like to say that I've worked with Mr. Hopkins on a field trip. I work full-time in the private sector, but I occasionally drive a school bus for field trips because we need the help in our district. And I had the great pleasure of taking FFA to Cheyenne, and I would second what the principal said about getting him some help so that he can expand our program, because it was really amazing watching them. And thank you for the time.
Next up is Owen Hayes.
My name is Owen Hayes, 411 East State Drive, Johnston. Hello, I'm a 5th grader at Lefford. I was elected as student council representative last week. I promised my class that I would listen but also lead. I promised to bring positive change and stand up for what's best for all students. I get one chance to do my job well, and that's partly why I'm here tonight. Just because I'm going off to middle school next year doesn't mean I should stop caring about Lefford. I want to leave this place better than I found it. I have friends and neighbors at Lefford in preschool, kindergarten, 1st grade, and 2nd grade. My friends and neighbors need a better school. It won't last until they're my age. Even my parents went to the school, so it's really old. I've seen cracks in the walls, dents in the walls, leaking roofs, and even last year, my sister's classroom got so smoky, her class had to cram into another classroom for 2 whole days. Sure, it's held up for 60 years or so, but now I think it's a good time to take it down because it is no longer safe. My school already has amazing teachers, but I think they could do even more amazing things if they had a new school. My teachers have taught me a lot. They've encouraged me to try my best and never give up, and to stand up for what I believe in. They also have taught me that there is no I in team. That means we can't do everything by ourselves, or our own way. We need to work together. We might not agree with everything the bond is offering, but we need to start somewhere. We can't wait any longer. We need to come together as a community to give students the best opportunity to succeed. After all, we are the future. I'm only 10 years old. I can't vote, but you can. Would you please consider being my voice, my friends, neighbors, and classmates' voice? Please vote yes on 5A and 5B.
Next up to speak is Brecken Santarello. You have listed 2 items, but that still only gives you 3 minutes. Right.
All right, I don't know how I passed that. The wisdom of babes right there. All right, Brecken Santarello, 2043 Widgeon Drive. As I'm going into my 15 years as organizational leader for our local 4-H club, Calico and Jeans, I absolutely appreciate what volunteering means, the dedication and time that it takes. Mrs. Wickman, Mrs. Hall, Mr. Wales, thank you so much for your continued service. Mr. McCarthy, thank you for the term that you've served, for the deep investment of time and energy that you have given to our community. And Mr. Bruce, thank you. I am so proud of you for serving 2 terms in spite of the extra challenges that you have faced. On behalf of Calico Jeans 4-H Club, I would like to extend a small token, actually we would like to extend a small token of thanks to you for your willingness to be our representatives in such important matters. So we want you to know that we see you and appreciate you. I have a little token for you here. I will give you when we're done. I'm going to jump right into the next thing here. I'm a community member with deep roots. My father graduated from Johnstown, my mother from Roosevelt, I also from Roosevelt, and both of my children are now 3rd generation RHS alumni. This community has always been important to me, and all of us sitting here have chosen this community because we believe in it and care about it. Now, I've been in favor of building a new high school. In fact, I was among a group of parents who became known as those parents who approached the board and prior administration about 5 years ago with questions of when and where. Today, we have some inconvenient truths in front of us. And I say us because this isn't a district versus community issue. Anyone who is a voter and a taxpayer has a responsibility to this. Some of these inconvenient truths: 40 million in critical maintenance needed for buildings. Growth, putting most of our schools at or near capacity. We've got modulars in use. More housing development is coming. Over 600 students live in district and don't even attend here. Our best grant match isn't even half of what it was previously, and we will lose current matching funds if the bond doesn't pass. We still don't have land or infrastructure to consider building a new high school after even 5 years of conversations. Some of the oldest facilities in the region. Money's been spent to research these issues a number of times, and waiting will only incur more costs. So aware of these inconvenient truths and knowing the current plan that's been researched and developed with input from you all and from community members and staff, I am clear on the why behind this. So I'm left with 2 choices. Thank you to your dedication. I can vote yes or no. I cannot do either or because I'm not willing to buy the car without the engine. A majority no vote guarantees that we continue with what we have and we get nothing. I believe our community deserves more than nothing. A majority yes vote means I pay more in my property taxes, about the cost of 1 dinner out per month, and that we have action instead of talk. A yes vote does not guarantee bonding capacity for building the high school in the future, but if I was a betting person, I'd bet that we will have that capacity because the growth is here and it continues to come. Logic dictates that waiting will cost us more because that is where we are now. I hope voters understand things like how best grant monies work and bonding capacity and how the tax burden will go down as people come here. Studies show the impact of building new schools. It increases student achievement, raises property values, and contributes to local economies. I don't want a tax increase, I want an investment. So, because of that, I encourage everyone to please vote yes on 5A and 5B.
Next to speak is Marty Foster.
Hey, this is what retirement looks like. Some of you didn't even know I wore blue jeans. Thank you. Marty Foster, 2130 Black Duck, Johnstown. I'm actually glad there's a lot of people here tonight because probably a tough crowd to speak to, but I'm the last guy in the world that doesn't think you need a new Lefford Elementary School. You do. I've known that for many, many, many years. Board of Education, I've known you guys for a long, long time too. Worked with you for years and years. I have all the respect in the world for you. I love you guys as teachers and educators. I love the community. I chose to live here. It's my home. I've been here almost 17 years. So, the one thing that I don't agree with in the bond proposal is that it does not include a new high school. That's what I don't agree with. And the reason that I say that is that there's a way and a means to now get this high school. Brecken mentioned bonding capacity. We have it First time since I've lived here, it's a possibility to do this. I don't think you want $250 million in debt if you could have $100 million less than that, because that's exactly what could happen if you come back again next year, put a high school in this, and do it the right way. Now, many of you may not agree with that, and many of you may say we can't wait another year for Ledford, but that's my reasoning. That's my sole reasoning. I love all of you. I support this district. Regardless of how this comes out, I'll still support you. But please, that's where I'm at with it. And that's why I came out the way I did and said what I said. I don't think it's wrong or irresponsible or unconscionable to question what's being done, even though it's been said that about me. But think about what I've said. Thank you, guys.
Next to speak, Jackson, Stevie, and Micah Willard. Mr. Willard, and members of the board, given that there are 3 of them in this slot, just have a courtesy of more time if they need. Okay.
My name is Jackson Willard. I live at 114 Cayuga Street, Johnstown. I am in 4th grade at Ledford Elementary. I have had a lot of great experiences and teachers here, but it is time for a new school. With all the repairs that are needed, the building won't last until my little brother and sister reach 5th grade. I am too young to vote, so along with the future of this community, we need your help to vote yes. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Stevie Willard and I'm in 1st grade. I want to help Ledford by getting more money for a new school. We need more seats in the bathroom so kids don't have to wait in line so long. Some rooms have a hole in the roof. This is why we need a new and bigger school. Please vote yes. Thank you.
He was going to say, my name is Micah Willard, and I approve this message.
Thank you very much to all 3 of you. Next to speak is Tucker Willard. Don't get extra.
Tucker Willard, 114 Cayuga Street, Johnstown. I figured I was probably the only one who could follow these 3. But another pretty cute, it's even hard for me. I just wanted to say is, I'm in favor of this bond, and I hope that people consider that we need a new Ledford. There's a lot of other repairs in all of our buildings. There's a BEST grant not only for Ledford Elementary, but there's a BEST grant for Milliken Elementary. It helps us get a new roof. So I want to see those improvements in all of our schools for our future. As you can see, I'm very invested in this community. I work here, I live here, my kids are going to grow up here, and I can't think of a better place for them to be. But we lose those BEST grants if we don't vote for this. We lose money for new roofs in our schools and safety for our kids. So please consider that. I know I've been on these bond committees for a couple years now, so I've seen a lot of ways that they've gone. And when we polled our community, it was half and half, new middle school, new high school. We can't do both. This will impact all the kids that come through our district, even if it's a new middle school, and I think that will be great. And we have a future plan of where it's going to come next. So please consider that when you vote yes.
Angie Cooper, 1001 North 4th Street, Johnstown, Colorado. President McCarthy and Board, I am here today to talk to you in support of the upcoming bond and mill levy in the November ballot. I'm in my 31st year of teaching at Milliken Middle School. My whole career, even including my student teaching, has been in this district. I love this district and I moved here just because of the school and the community. My kids, and now my grandchildren, have attended or are attending school here. I have witnessed tremendous growth in 31 years. When I started at MMS in 1988, our student count was approximately 275, and now we are at Milliken Middle School are at 815. Our last bond was 16 years ago in 2003, and to say that our district facilities are nearing capacity and our infrastructure is in dire need of upgrades is an understatement. You can ask any teacher in almost any building, and they have lots of tales to tell. I've sat on 3 DAC committees that involved looking at proceeding with the bond. The first one was in 2003 when we built Pioneer Ridge. The second was in 2017-18, and then again last year in 2018 and 19. Being a part of DAC and looking at the bond last year was very different than the previous times I was on DAC. Last year was very forward-thinking and looked at not only our current needs, but projecting out into the future in several phases and addressing all of those needs as well. The process involved many people, teachers, community members, business leaders, and town officials. Input from many different perspectives were encouraged and valued. Teachers visited schools that were newly built and included the latest educational settings. We had meetings at various schools where everyone got to give input on what they would want in new buildings, addressing everything from CTE programs, the arts programs, and innovative classrooms. In addition, there were several community meetings hosted before the board even made their final decision to put the bond on the November ballot. When I was on DAC in 2017-18, there was a survey that was conducted. In that survey, the need and support for a new high school and a new middle school was 50-50. The way that the district is looking at bonding and doing things in phases has addressed both the middle school and the high school concerns. We all know the shape of Letford Elementary, and then everybody always asks, well, what about the marijuana money? I don't know how many times we hear that, even from my mom and dad. This is the first time our district has applied for and received the BEST grant, which is $8.3 million towards the building of a new elementary to replace Letford. The catch is the district has to match that, or even more than match that, and we need to pass a bond in order to do that. As a district, we need more mental health professionals, resource officers, full-time paraprofessionals, and upgrades in our safety and security in our buildings to address many needs that we face in today's world. If we do not pass this bond this year, it is estimated that the cost will go up between 5 and 15% each year. Can we afford to wait? I say that we can't. Many people say, I'm just going to do this last part. I think it takes a village. We are one society. We are Johnstown and Milliken. We are WeldRE5J. We are Roosevelt. We are Milliken Middle School. We are Milliken Elementary School. We are Letford, and we are Pioneer Ridge. Our kids are our future, and if we don't do it, we have to do it for our kids.
Thank you, Ms. Cooper. Just a brief note that the President of your board is not observant enough to flip the page. There are 4 additional speakers in addition to 13. So we'll just let that keep going. Those of you who thought you were off the hook because you're on page 2, I did see you're back there. So there are 8 individuals left to speak. Next up is Mr. Ron Ruby.
President McCarthy, members of the board, thank you for hearing me tonight. I live at 5214 Southwest Street in Brighton, but after working here for 8 years, I feel like I am a member of the community. I'm appreciative of the process that led the board to our current bond and mill levy package. Anyone who wanted to participate had a voice in the process and was given the opportunity, and their input was valued. We had community nights, building planning meetings, surveys, site visits, and we took all the information that we got just a year ago and applied it to what we looked at this year and just went from there. So I'm confident that we looked at a long-range plan for our future of our students in RE5J. This bond and mill levy package isn't about desires of any one group or school. It's about to address the first steps to improve the district's facilities and educational programs. It's need versus want. This is about the students and their future, and everyone's vote should reflect that. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next to speak is Amber Trumbull.
Amber Trumbull, 12172 County Road 23 in Fort Lupton. And I had to think twice about saying that because I am such a long-time member of our community. All right, so Helen Keller once said, the only thing worse than being blind is having sight but no vision. This was the mode of operations for the previous administration. The good old boy mentality ran rampant, and one man's agenda prevailed for way too long. However, our current administration and school board, together with parents and other community members, have come up with a solid vision for WeldRE5J School District. The board members have worked tirelessly with no compensation to do what is best for kids. I used to sit tight-lipped in many staff meetings and listen to the rhetoric about lack of growth from year to year, as well as how no new developments were in the works. My heart went out to concerned parents as they were patronized and scoffed at for speaking out about the needs within our district.
Ms. Trumbull, I'm going to remind you to keep your comments to the board and not attacks of
Sure.
any one individual or group, please.
I watched as facilities at Roosevelt High School and Pioneer Ridge Elementary received continuous and ongoing attention, while other schools in the district were ignored. I know about the maintenance oversights and disregard for critical upkeep, but never felt comfortable voicing my opinions. I am no longer afraid. It is preposterous to undermine what the current superintendent and you, the Board of Education, are trying to accomplish. It is shameful not to support the bond because the money will not go to build a new high school. Many of us would like nothing more than to see a new high school in our district. However, that is not a possibility in the near future because the other buildings in our district have been subjected to such severe neglect. Good news. There is new hope for our district. Helen Keller, who is a very wise woman, also said, hope sees the invisible, feels the intangible, and achieves the impossible. And I have faith in our current administration because of the work that they and the Board of Education have put into coming up with a clear vision for the district. Mrs. Leslie Arnold has devoted countless hours to improve our district. She has written grants to gain funds to help offset the shortfalls for much needed improvements. I support our Board of Education and the current administration and would like to thank you all personally for everything that you are doing for my hometown and our district. The funds from the bond will go towards improvements on every building in the district. The MLO override and bond will work together to provide facilities, critical maintenance, staff, and safety measures for our growing region. Got 2 sentences left. Our communities will benefit greatly from this investment. It is going to take a lot to satisfy the needs within our area. And once again, Helen Keller said it best. Alone, we can do so little. Together, we can do so much. Let's join together to ensure the success of our community schools.
Next to speak is Aspen Sanders.
Aspen Sanders, 234 47th Avenue Court. Thank you, President McCarthy, members of the board, for allowing me to speak to you this evening. Over the course of the last several weeks, there have been many conversations, both publicly and privately, regarding the current ballot issues and why a new high school wasn't part of the plan. Building a new high school takes appropriate planning and visioning, which wasn't done in the past. I'm not here to point fingers about past wrongdoings, but I'm here to advocate for the students in our community. They're ultimately the ones who will suffer. In the last several years, surveys have been given to our community regarding what is it they want for their youth and their children. In 2 separate surveys, our community voted equally when it came to wanting a new middle school and a new high school. While not all members of the community agree at this point in time, there is one thing we should agree on. Our students deserve better from us. What does it mean to deserve better? They deserve to feel safe in their schools through improved safety and security measures and improved mental health supports. They deserve to know when they go to school that they will be taught by the most qualified staff, because we are a district where teachers come because this is their dream job. They deserve to be in schools that aren't falling apart due to deferred maintenance from the past. They deserve to have the best programs available to help prepare them for life after high school. In short, our students deserve more from us and our community. I hope this November we show our students what matters most to all of us. Investing in them is investing in our future. At this point, how do we not invest in them? Thank you for your time and for putting this ballot measure in front of all of our community members and voters this November.
Next to speak is Dr. Brian Littlefield.
Thank you, Mr. McCarthy. Thank you, school board. I'm Dr. Brian Littlefield, and I spend a lot of time at 616 North 2nd Street in Johnstown, Colorado, 80534. I lease at 6732 Colony Hills Lane, but I'm looking to buy. I'm just waiting on my realtor to get certified. She's getting it. Thank you, school board, for having a vision and a plan for investing in the future of this community. I've been serving in education for over 28 years. Over 17 of those years as a school administrator. And I've got to spend a lot of time on top of Roosevelt, under Roosevelt, all around Roosevelt, in and out of Roosevelt. And I can tell you, Roosevelt High School has great bones. Has some great leaders that took real good care of it. And we appreciate that. And I know that someday it'll make a great foundation for a new middle school. We got to break in a new boiler last week, a little early for me. But we got to break it in. I got to try out my new gloves, take them off finally. But it's a great high school. And it's in great shape for its age. It serves all of our students to capacity. We don't have a single traveling teacher. Every teacher has a classroom. Every student has a classroom to go to. Yeah, we have Puerto Rico. It's nice. We have that shop. It's nice too. And, you know, but overall, our high school has a great legacy. And has served this community and our families and our students for years. And if we roll up our sleeves and we take care of it, it'll last. It'll continue to last. And it'll serve this community for years to come. I appreciate being the principal there. I appreciate the welcome that I've had from this community, your children, employees of this district. And you know, they asked me why I chose to come to WeldRE5J and be the new high school principal of Roosevelt High School. And I told them because it felt a lot like home. Thank you. Thank all of you.
Thank you for those comments. Next to speak is Heather Farquhar.
Heather Farquhar, 802 Elm Street, Milliken. President McCarthy, members of the board, thank you for the time to speak to you tonight. I'm speaking tonight in strong support of the bond and mill levy on this November's ballot. I feel that it is essential to emphasize that regardless of the proposed timeline created to address the improvements to be made throughout the district, should the bond and mill levy pass, both our measures are all about what all of our schools are in desperate need of. All of our schools are in need of critical repairs that have gone unaddressed over the past several years. All of our schools are in need of more space for the numbers that have been gradually increasing over several years. All of our schools are in need of upgrades in order to appropriately meet the 21st century skills and standards that the state of Colorado mandates that we provide. All of our schools are in need of improved measures to ensure our children's safety and security, and the list goes on. As a community member since 2003, a teacher in the district since 2001, and a parent in the community since 2007, I especially want to address voters who have no children or grandchildren attending our school district, or maybe they have children who go to school elsewhere. I urge that they please don't shortchange the students who are currently in our school district and future students to come because they feel that they have no skin in the game. It takes a village to do what's right for children, and we are all part of that WeldRE5J village. Thank you for the time.
Next to speak is Kenneth Howe.
Ken Howell, 2907 Moulard Court in Johnstown, and illustrious PE teacher here at Lethford. I do love my job. I say that I have the greatest job in the district, and I do believe it, so I'm grateful for that. I'm not going to make this long. A lot of stuff that I wanted to say when you go last, a lot of stuff you want to say has already been said at this point. And it's getting cold out, and to turn the heater on, I have a bamboo stick that I have to use. That might get a little embarrassing, but I have spent some time on the roof here as of recent. And it's real. We need it, and I don't think anybody's denying that. I really don't. I just think that coming into this, you asked us to take a journey with you. You asked us to be proactive, not reactive. We've jumped on that. My son's had a chance to sit down with architects and tell them where the spots on the playground are. We've had community members that have come up with a plan over numerous years that have given us excitement and vision, and we just want to say thanks. And not just me. I'm here for Ledford as well, if you guys don't mind standing up. We're here for you, and we appreciate it. We appreciate your vision. We appreciate everything you guys have done. This is thankless, and irregardless, we're on this journey with you, and we thank you for that. So thank you very much.
Next to speak is Valerie Stump.
WeldRE5J, 3106 Megan Wayne Berthoud, but I do live within district boundaries. I have stood before you as co-president to Jamie Ain. Today I stand before you as a mother, as a teacher of both Jackson and Owen. I'm incredibly proud, and I want to thank you boys, thank you. And a community member. First, I want to thank everyone who has worked and is working so tirelessly to create a vision and plan to move our district forward. I would especially like to thank Superintendent Arnold, President McCarthy, and our board, and the many other community members who have stood with us in this endeavor. I also have deep roots in this community. My children are third generation WeldRE5J students as well. My son graduated in 2016. I have one daughter in the middle school and one daughter in the high school. And I'm excited about the opportunities that are going to be possible for them. Like any parent, I want the best for my kids. However, I think this goes beyond what I want and leans more towards what they need. My girls need to be in safe and secure buildings. My girls need innovative programs and spaces. They need and deserve opportunity, and I feel the bond and MLO will provide these needs for not only my children, but countless others. As a teacher, I have walked the halls and taught in the rooms of Lutford Elementary School for 18 years. I love this school and the people in it, the big ones and the small ones. As a long-term employee, I have not seen any impactful improvements in this facility. I shouldn't have to worry about my materials being destroyed because of leaking windows or a leaking roof. I shouldn't have to worry about my health because of the mysterious odors that float down the hallways at times. But I love it, and I would never leave regardless of what happens, but I encourage you for those reasons to please consider voting yes. And then finally, as a community member, I understand what we are asking is not a small ask or an easy ask. The thing I have always loved about being in Johnstown and Milliken is our small town feel. We take care of each other. And now is the time to come together and continue to watch our communities grow and thrive. Our schools are the foundation of a growing community. Everyone benefits when we invest in our schools, our future, and our children. Thank you again for your countless hours and your hard work and your dedication. It has not gone unnoticed, and I just ask our community to please vote yes on 5A, 5B. Thank you.
Final speaker in the public comment period is Casey Ross.
It's tough to go last today. Casey Ross, 3264 Silver Bell Drive, Johnstown, Colorado. Lutford students, please don't write that down. President McCarthy, Board of Education, tonight I come before you as a dad in the community of Johnstown. I want to take a moment to personally thank Superintendent Arnold, the board, and all employees of WeldRE5J who have put the time and work into the bond initiative in order to make our schools the best place for kids. I want the board and community to know that I fully support 5A and 5B. I'll be voting yes on 5A and 5B for three very important reasons. Brindley, McKenzie, and Ashlyn. My wife and I have three girls who will soon be entering into our schools, and we believe it is our responsibility to help invest in their education and that of our future generations. We will be giving up Sling TV, which means my wife has chosen to give up the Hallmark Channel. A big deal in our house. We want our children to know that we value education enough to make this investment. We want the teachers in our district to feel supported and to know that we value the hard work and time they put into our kids each and every single day. I believe that passing this bond will allow the district the necessary resources to move forward in their vision for our schools. Thank you.
On behalf of the Board of Education, I want to thank all the members of our community who came out to participate and to share their thoughts during our public comment period. And I want to thank Lutford Elementary School for hosting us tonight and for allowing us to have some dinner with you, to share a meal with you. Board members, are there other items that you see fit to have added to our agenda this evening? Anything that has arisen that we need to discuss?
I'd like to comment about living without Hallmark Channel struck from the record.
That's a difficult precedent, isn't it? Seeing no suggestions for additional items for discussion by the Board of Education at 8:30 p.m., we will adjourn this regularly scheduled meeting. Thank you to all.